All right, what's up, nerds? We're your hosts. I'm Chad.
And I'm Jake. This week we are sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
We are also sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
This week we're going to be talking about episode 4 and 5 of the Disney Plus series, What If?
So good. We're also going to be diving into episodes 5 and 6 of Titans on HBO
So
Max.
good.
I really enjoy both those shows, man. Fuck.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome back, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. So, Jake, how was your week this week?
You know, for a 4-day week, this week sucked. Like work-wise, I was just slammed this week. It was brutal. How about you?
Well, I also had a 4-day work week, but my weekends are in the middle of the week, so it didn't seem as bad.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that you had to deal with, I didn't. And it was quite enjoyable.
We do have some very exciting news, though. Do we not,
God.
Chad?
Yes, there's a lot going on, but the biggest news has to be what?
We are flying out to New York on the 8th, October 8th. Is that correct?
Yeah, that Friday.
Yep. To go to New York Comic-Con. This will be the first Comic-Con that either of us have ever been to.
Yes.
And it's in New York, which is pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. It's been wild. It's been a pretty short notice since we got the invite to be included in this, compared to how quickly we booked everything.
Yeah.
Literally just this week. It's not even a full week. It's been like 4 days.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're kind of partnering with somebody right now. I don't know if we're allowed to say his name, but
yeah, well,
we can say his first name.
Yeah, so we've been working with this awesome guy. His name is Alan. He's kind of helping us.
He's who set up
out.
all of our interviews so far with people. Yeah. I mean, he's
or most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, other than Joe. Yeah. My bad.
But yeah, he's been a great step in the door, and he's given us some pointers as to how to grow better and helping us, and it's awesome. We're super thankful for him, and yeah, it's opened this door, which is rad, to go to New York Comic Con, which is something that we've always wanted to do, is at least go to like one of the major Comic Cons.
Yeah, I think we originally said we were gonna go to
San Diego,
but that was like when we started this thing,
and that was like a someday, maybe 2022 or beyond, but this is gonna be awesome, and it's right in Manhattan. We're staying just outside of, we're staying like right by Times Square, like on the border of Times Square neighborhood, Broadway, and Hell's Kitchen.
I've never been to New York, so I don't know what any of that means, but
there's a lot over there. There's so much to do. It's going to be so much fun. But yeah, so that's been the saving grace of this week that's just kind of like dragged on with work, was that, we have this coming up, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of like bonus content for you guys.
Yeah. We're going to meet with some cool people.
Yeah.
Maybe Alan will show his face on the podcast. That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be super nice. But yeah, it's gonna be. God, I'm so excited.
The
tits. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fire, as the young kids say.
That being said, let's move on to our first sponsor, which is Crybaby Craig's. Pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce. It goes on practically anything. Listen up and we'll tell you a little more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today.
All right, guys. All right, guys. So we want to talk about because of Shang-Chi and some other stuff we didn't talk about last week's episodes of What If and Titans. So we're going to dive into 2 episodes of each, and we'll try to whiz through them the best that we can. So What If episode 4?
Quattro.
Was episode based on Doctor Strange. It was pretty sweet. Basically, instead of Doctor Strange crashing in his car by himself and losing his hands, he crashes in his car with Christine and loses Christine, essentially his heart.
The love is life.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just did one of these things. And
No.
I was like, wow, that's super insensitive.
I just didn't want to talk too much. So I thought maybe you were gonna go there and whatever.
But it starts off super emotional, but then it kind of flashes through just small cutscenes from the original Doctor Strange. Basically, he still becomes, the Sorcerer Supreme, defeats Dormammu, and then it shows him on the anniversary of Christine's death, having a scotch, and then he decides to use the Eye of Agamotto to go back in time to change the outcome.
Yeah, her dying being the outcome.
Yeah, and everything that he does results in her death.
It's just it's
a straight,
kind of like a time loop. It's a over and over again, but he tries to change the way that they drove. Hey, let's stay in instead of go out. And no matter what he does, he even at one point stands her up, and is like, if I just don't even go pick her up, she'll be safe. And while he's sitting at the bar drinking by himself, he sees on the news that she died anyway.
It's
no matter what he does, she dies.
Butterfly effect. If you guys ever saw that early 2000s movie with Ashton Kutcher, that no matter what he did, the same outcome kind of happened, just in various degrees. Basically, she always died in this universe. And then it gets brought to light that it's what's called the Nexus event. Basically meaning that her death had to happen in that universe in order for the timeline to continue.
Yeah.
If the word Nexus rings a bell with you guys, it's because of WandaVision, or if you guys have read the comics. Basically, a Nexus event or a Nexus being is that in any single timeline for any universe in the multiverse, it's a constant. That's a very dumbed down. It cannot be changed. Wanda always becomes Scarlet Witch because she's a Nexus being. In that universe with Doctor Strange, Christine will always die because it has to happen in order for the rest of existence to continue.
Yeah. So he basically decides I'm going to learn everything I can about this, and I'm going to fix it. And he kind of just turns into an asshole. And
a demon.
Evil. He realizes that by reading books, he realizes that the only way that he can make her survive in his universe is to take the life source from other universes So he starts fucking killing things from other universes,
Yeah,
opening
like
portals, bringing them to him, and like killing them.
yeah, like massive beasts, like random creatures
Yeah.
across the multiverse. We get hints of what looks to be the same octopus monster from the first What If episode with
Yeah.
Agent Carter,
Yep.
which also, if you guys have seen Shang-Chi, also very much resembles. I don't even remember
Spoiler
what
alert. Spoiler
I don't
alert.
even remember what they called it in the movie.
Yeah. It
But
was yeah.
it's like the dark beast that eats souls.
Yeah.
Also, if you guys are familiar with like
And then he
Agents of
eats
Shield,
its soul.
yeah, it seems kind of like it's the Hydra God.
Yeah, the octopus creature. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily confirmed, but that's where my mind went. And then also after seeing Shang-Chi, I was like, oh, that's that same creature.
Yeah.
It's
We
like
also
the bringer of darkness.
yeah. We also get a kind of a cool the first time that has happened in the series so far. Doctor Strange acknowledges the Watcher's presence. I
Yeah,
thought that was fucking cool.
and
Yeah.
it's either because he is the Sorcerer Supreme or because he's absorbing so much life force that now he's like aware of like multi-dimensional beings.
Yeah.
Don't know which it is yet. They might explain it, but he literally has a conversation
Yeah.
with
In
the
the end of the
Watcher.
episode, he
Yeah,
does. Yeah. He's like, you can fix this, and he's like, even if I wanted to, why would I? After what you've done, basically.
yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Oh, it's bad. But also at one point, basically, Tilda Swinton, as the Ancient One, splits Doctor
Oh yeah.
Strange, so that there's two coexisting Doctor Stranges, so that they have to battle basically to see who is more
Well,
powerful. And
well, no, she splits the two of them to see what the timelines will be like. She wants to know
right, right,
if your timeline, the evil Doctor Strange timeline, goes, what's going to happen, and if Doctor Strange never went back for Christine, what his timeline was going to be, so she could see which one was going to have the better outcome. Surprise, surprise! It's not evil Doctor Strange.
weird. Who would have thought in a Disney show?
Yeah.
What? But
Basically,
they do it really well. And then
yeah.
we get a good showdown between evil Doctor Strange, and even like his cape is like
Evil.
maniacal.
He steals it off a different being. It's not even
Yeah.
the cape from the original Doctor Strange. He goes to absorb a soul, and he's like, "Nice cape." Takes the cape and then
Yeah.
fucking kills the thing, and it was like, "Wow, cool." But yeah, it was
Yeah.
wild. The showdown is cool. This episode is badass. There is spoiler alert. Evil Doctor Strange wins. He kills
He does.
good Doctor Strange, or absorbs him, I guess I should say. I assume killing him. And the fucking universe basically just collapses.
Around
'Cause
him, because he does save Christine at the end, and she's terrified of him because now he's like this monster.
he's like a big demon looking thing with like wings and shit. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like a 30,000 species cross of
Yeah,
all the monstrous beings that he's absorbed.
yeah,
And as he's like holding her, like the universe just kind of like collapses into darkness, and then
Mhm.
that's it.
Well, and then she says, "What did you do?" And then he's like, "I'm sorry." And then like that's literally how the episode ends.
Yeah.
it's
It ends on a
it was
really somber
super
note.
depressing. Yeah, it was. We watched it, and yeah, I was just like, that was depressing.
I didn't know what to say for like the first few minutes. Afterwards, I was like, what?
Yeah. So that's that episode.
Oh, but then episode 5,
Dun,
we
dun,
we
dun.
get some Marvel Zombies.
Woohoo.
Before we get into it, because this is the most recent episode, again, spoiler, but if you guys haven't seen the Funko Pops for the Zombie Avengers, they're super awesome. Also, I'm really sad that we don't get Scott Lang / Ant-Man Funko Pop for this. We'll explain later as to why, but I'm mad about it. But yeah, so this is the What If Zombies.
Basically, it's Hulk, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, crashing into Doctor Strange's place where he says like Thanos is coming.
Yeah, at the start of like Infinity War.
But there's like nobody there, and he walks outside, and there's nobody there, and then all of a sudden, Ebony Maw and
Call Obsidian.
Yeah, show up, and Bruce is trying to turn himself into the Hulk. He's like, "Come on!" and Hulk does the no that he does in Infinity War, and then the Avengers show up, and you're like, "Yay, the Avengers!" Tony, Doctor Strange, and
Wong.
they beat the shit out of the bad guys, but then something weird happens.
Yep. Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo is like, okay, guys, that's a little excessive because they're like beating them into the ground, and you hear like flesh tearing.
Oh, you even see like someone like with flesh like in his mouth.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh Jesus, and he's like, oh God.
And it turns out that Doctor Strange, Wong, and Tony are actually all zombies.
Yeah.
Which then turns Ebony Maw and Call Obsidian into zombies. And they start trying to attack Bruce. We get to see Zombie Wong
He's like, don't eat me. Come on, I'm vegan.
Yeah.
But kind of the cool part about this part, though, sorry to interrupt, is that we had talked about it before we started recording and we kind of skipped past it, but that even though the Avengers are now zombies, they're still themselves. Like, they still know how to, like Zombie Tony still knows how to operate the suit and fly with precision. And shoot. Yeah, and same with
Doctor Strange and Wong still know how to open portals.
Yeah.
All of that. Back to that vegan comment, which is hilarious because Mark Ruffalo in real life, I'm pretty sure, is vegan.
So is Paul Rudd.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Because we are as well.
Huzzah.
But, huzzah. But Hulk, canonically, at least in the MCU, is not, because you see him eating eggs and sausage in Endgame.
Yeah.
So it's a lie.
Well,
just kidding.
Shit.
Sorry, that was a long walk for a short drink of water.
Yeah. I feel like kind of the heart of this story is Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Oh, absolutely.
He kind of seems to be the center of it all. There's a couple of moments that he gives a couple of cute speeches. It's adorable.
Yeah. We see that Hope Van Dyne in this is alive. She's who saves Mark Ruffalo. She cuts Tony's head off. With like one of her like...
No, it was Wong. She cut Wong's head off.
No, that was with his own portal, and the cape saved Mark Ruffalo by holding onto Wong and dragging him like halfway through the portal, and then when it closed, it just like cut his head off. And we still had the oh god, and he like kicks the dismembered thing away from him like he does in Infinity War. Only instead of it being an arm, it's Wong's head, which is
Obsidian's
hilarious.
arm. Yeah.
But so Hope shows up. And then he gets rescued by Peter Parker, who like swings down, picks him up, and like they swing away. He's like, "Don't eat me!" He's like, "Don't worry, I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." He's like, "What happened to the neighborhood?"
Yeah.
And then we get a very Zombieland-esque like How to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse
by Peter Parker.
by Peter Parker, and it's hilarious.
We also see that the virus started because while Janet Van Dyne was in the quantum realm, she contracted the virus there. When Hank goes in to pull her out, he gets attacked by her, and then when they come out of the quantum realm, Paul Rudd's character, Scott Lang, Jesus, and Hope are waiting there for them, and Paul Rudd unfortunately meets a early demise in the episode, or so it would seem.
What's that? We'll get to that.
I don't know why I did that. Sorry.
No, it's funny. I'm glad you did. But so we get a lot of returning characters. I mean, we get like Sharon Carter. We now have, and they kind of explain like why so this all started like two weeks before the start of Infinity War, which is when the normal film of Ant-Man and the Wasp ends. Not the end credit scene, but when they bring Janet back from the quantum realm. So we get a lot of that, and then it explains that the Avengers go to San Francisco to stop this new outbreak.
It's very inspirational too. It shows like the Quinjet opening, and it's like Cap and like all the other Avengers, and it's playing like
including Tony. So like they've reconciled that quickly for this threat. And then Cap's like standing all in the front, like all heroic and Chris Evans like. And then it looks like he slaps a mosquito, and it's just Hank Pym as Ant-Man, just like super tiny, just like 9 at his neck, just like just absolutely
turning him into a zombie.
It's just absolutely hilarious.
It's hilarious.
This is probably the funniest episode that we've gotten so far, and that's saying something because they did the T'Challa as Star-Lord. That episode was hilarious, and I think that this one was funnier. It's probably because there's such a drastic difference between the humor and how like brutal this episode actually was. But it was absolutely great.
Couple things just to say for the funny part of it, not going with the plot, but we see Happy, and he's wearing one of Tony's blasters, and he's shooting at things and going blam, 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 blam. And Sharon is like, "Are you saying blam?" It's pretty funny. And then
then inevitably, Happy gets turned into a zombie. And then just to go off the aspect that everyone, like the zombies, kind of keep their personalities, you get zombie Happy going, blam, blam, blam.
Yeah.
Which is cool because in the comics for the zombie run of the Avengers, like it's like a zombie virus, but everyone keeps their personality.
Yeah.
They keep their morals, but they have this unquenching hunger and thirst. So it's like, at least in the comics, like when Peter Parker turns, he doesn't turn in this episode, but in the comics, like he still like wants to like save Aunt May and Mary Jane, but like the zombie like hunger takes him over, and in the comics he kind of murders them and eats them. But in this episode, they kind of kept that same premise. They just kind of changed the story a little bit to where like we mentioned, Tony still knows how to operate the Iron Man suit.
So
all that
I have a theory that season 2 is going to be how they're every episode is a different episode. Season 2 is going to be the continuation of said episode.
That would be great because almost every single one ends on some kind of cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Except for Doctor Strange when the universe implodes. But they could figure
Loki. No, that was not the same episode. My bad.
Yep, not the same episode.
No, my bad.
But they could find a way to still do it.
I literally had this same conversation earlier with Mike, and he brought up the episode with Hank Pym, and he's like, "How would they go with that?" And I was like, "Because Loki." And then when you said that, I was like, oh, same conversation. Loki. Oh, nope. Different conversation. My bad.
Yeah. But that's awesome.
But they could.
I haven't thought about that. Like,
I don't know if that's just a theory. I don't know if that's what it's going to be. But
that would be
sweet.
incredible because
we're only like 4 episodes away from the season finale.
5. But yeah. There's 10 episodes.
Oh, we're only on episode 5. My bad. Anyways.
Long day. I get it.
But I don't see them... Because the next episode is the Tony Stark and Killmonger episode. So I don't see how there's going to be any room to like end the episodes that have already happened. So I think personally that season 2 will be a continuation of each episode by...
That would be incredible. I really hope that that's right.
Yeah.
Obviously we have to wait for this, but if you're right, like, we will shout it out.
Yeah.
And let you pump your fist off camera.
Bask into the glory of being right, because we do that here. Back on track here.
But basically,
sorry,
there's a lot of stuff that happens in between this. Like, we get to see Hawkeye as a zombie. He still has like his
Falcon as a zombie.
Basically perfect name. We get to see Falcon. Okoye from the Dala Milaje kills Falcon because he was about to kill Bucky. Cuts him in half and is like, that was your friend. I'm sorry. And Bucky's like, I should be sad, but I'm not.
Yeah, so they hear about this place and they're like, this is a safe place. We're going to go there. And they go there and we're going to skip ahead. I feel like we've talked a little too much on this episode, so I want to...
Yeah, I don't want to go play by play, so we're going to skip ahead.
I'm going to skip over the whole... Basically...
No, just skip. That's fine.
Hope's going to become a zombie, and she knows she's going to become a zombie. So she turns big and carries the remaining Avengers to the safe place while getting bit by zombies, drops them over the fence, and she's like, here you guys go. Smile for me, Peter. And then she dies. And then...
It was not a sexual moment, but it...
And then basically they realize that the zombies aren't being held back by anything. They could easily walk over to them if they wanted to, but they won't. And then they find out why, and it's because Vision is there and the Mind Stone is blocking the zombies from blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh man, we could use this. It broadcasts the signal that the Mind Stone is giving off to save the rest of the world. But then they find out some fucked up shit. Chad, take it away. Sorry. I just wanted to skip over. Yeah.
So Vision, first off, has kind of found a cure because of the Mind Stone. Yeah. He used it to cure Scott Lang, which is why we're like, or did he? Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? P. Diddy?
He's just a head.
He's literally a Futurama head in a jar.
Dude, that's literally where I fucking went with it in my head. When I saw it, I was like, Futurama.
Yeah.
Futurama.
He's a floating head. And then in a moment, it'll be quite literally a floating head. Because Peter has acquired the cloak of levitation from Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is a zombie, and the cloak basically attaches himself to Peter as like the next worthy person.
Yeah.
But so they're talking with Vision. It turns out Vision isn't really trying to like save the world. He's just trying to like find a cure for Wanda, because she is a zombie and she's too powerful for the cure. So he's just kind of like luring people there and killing them and feeding them like limb by limb.
Yeah, including
T'Challa, who is now
Legolas.
Oh yeah, he's a really great archer that's also part Elvish and Middle Earth. Yeah, basically he's just like cutting up survivors and feeding them to Wanda to keep her like at bay. She gets out.
Yeah,
it's not good. And then Scott Lang almost falls off the chair in his head jar, and then the cape rescues him. So it's literally just a head in a jar by the cape. That's what I'm talking about. I want that as a Funko Pop. That's the only Funko Pop that I need from the series, but they have not released it. Marvel do better, and Funko
So,
Pop.
what do you think? Here's my question. If Wanda's a zombie, what reason does Vision have to keep her alive?
He says it's for love.
Is it? Or is it for love?
Well, I guess she would be dead.
So the vagina would be cold.
Yeah, but he's also a robot.
Oh, he doesn't care about temperature. That makes sense.
Yeah, so like it's like a super romantic necrophilia.
Necrophilia.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. Gross.
That did not feel right. Paul Bettany do better.
Yeah, come on, man. She's dead.
Ish.
Never mind. I won't go there.
But it gets to the point where then like he's like, I must atone for my sins, but I can't kill her. So he just like seppukus himself.
He Thanoses himself.
Yeah, he basically grabs the Mind Stone out of his head and just like rips it out and then just like dies and like gives it to the remaining Avengers to like continue finding a cure. But because the power source that's behind Vision, that's powering the Mind Stone, is now dead and offline, all the zombies start coming in, basically fucking everyone.
Yeah. Including dead corpses, which is Vision's like fetish apparently.
Yeah, that's what he enjoys. Clearly by this episode. What if Vision was a pervert?
Oh,
sorry.
No, sorry. Anyways, they run.
Brown chicken, brown cow. Sorry.
Oh my
I'm
God.
so sorry.
So they get in a plane.
Yeah, they get in a Quinjet. They try to fly away. And then, like we said, Giant Hope turns into a zombie. She stands up, grabs the Quinjet. Also, like, that's a really tall girl. Like, I've always wondered what it would be like to be, like, with a really tall girl. Not big, but, like, really tall.
You just want to climb that tree or what?
I mean, if you guys have seen Step Brothers with Katherine Hahn and Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, there's a moment where she's like, I just want to roll you up and put you in my vagina. Like, in that situation, you could do it. Just anytime you moved around, just be a little tickle. And
there's actually, in the comics, I shit you not, this is a real thing that happens in the comics. In the comics, is old school Ant-Man, and so is Hank Pym.
Oh, the super misogynist version of Ant-Man. Cool.
Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, and there's a sex scene in the comics where Hank shrinks himself down, goes inside of her vajayjay, and just starts like fucking punching labia or something to get her off.
Just Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, just
or fucking like just Rocky Balboa. He's just like boom, 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 like right at the bean. You know, I don't know.
Bean, or if he's inside, you know, the G spot.
All jokes aside, that's a real thing that happens in the
Mom.
comics. That's a real thing that happens in the comics. I swear to God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you'll get this.
Hilarious.
Oh, and super gross.
Yeah. Anyways, that's kind of how that episode ends.
But
not the labia stuff.
But Hope
getting away.
Hope does throw a zombie at the Quinjet as it's flying away, and it's
Hope. I thought you said Hulk. I was like, no, he doesn't.
No, Hope. And it's one of the funniest moments in my mind, because clearly the zombie is just going like, ah, but because of like the the Doppler effect of it, like getting closer, hitting the Quinjet, and then falling away. So like the sound difference, it sounds like she throws a zombie and he's going, ah, you hear the thud, and then it sounds like he goes, ow. I don't think that was the intention, but I died laughing because of it.
Yeah, that one was a good one. That was pretty funny.
But so now it's T'Challa, Spider-Man, and Scott. Those are the three that survived.
Floating head Scott.
Yeah. They're heading to Wakanda, where they have the technology to where they can mass produce this cure.
Mm.
They land in Wakanda, and what's there? Zombie Thanos.
Oh, God, I was like, I don't remember. Yeah, Zombie Thanos, yeah.
And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
Bam. And Zombie Thanos also has all of the stones
gauntlet.
except for the Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone, which they have.
And it's already separated from Vision, so it's like super easy to get.
Yeah. Fucking gnarly.
Fuck,
that being said,
this show. So good. Yeah, so with that being said, before we get into Titans, we do have to talk about our second sponsor, which is Ray's Energy Drinks and Rep Sports. Awesome energy drinks, 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 crash. They also have incredible pre-workouts. They just brought back their strawberry lemonade pre-workout as a full-time flavor instead of like a special edition. They still have their protein cakes. It's like those mug cakes. They basically like add the powder, a little bit of like milk or plant-based milk, microwave it, you get a protein-packed dessert. Incredible. Listen up, learn how to save 15%.
I'll give you a protein-packed dessert. Sorry.
Say you're sorry.
I said I'm sorry. I was just laughing.
Not to me. Say you're sorry.
To who?
Your mother.
Sorry, Mom. She doesn't listen to this.
Well, I'm sorry, Mom. For Jake. But yeah, listen up, learn how to save 15%, and we'll be right back with some Titans. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Ray's Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Ray's Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, and powered by their Refresh formula technology, Ray's Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Ray's Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you. All right, guys. So now what we're going to kind of switch gears. We're going to start talking about Titans episodes 5 and 6, which were still pretty good. 6 definitely more than 5, but
yeah, 5 felt like a little bit of a throwaway episode in my opinion.
Yeah, it over-explained some backstory. It made a long story longer.
Yeah.
As to who a certain character was.
Yeah.
And it in its defense, it did build a little bit more of like the history between Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
But
Dick
it wasn't
yeah.
Dick and a B. Yeah.
Dick and a B.
Definitely didn't necessarily need that.
Yeah.
Because we got it. There's tension. The episode is basically just to like build this relationship for people that have never seen anything DC related. that involves Batgirl and Nightwing or Robin. But it did still have some good moments. It was still a fun episode. It just...
Yeah.
I don't know if they needed a full episode to do it.
Yeah, they could have definitely took like 15 minutes and explained all of that.
Because that's about all that the flashback scenes took up, was about 15 minutes of this 45-minute long episode. And then the rest of it was just like...
Yeah.
Meh.
One of the cooler things about this episode was that we have confirmed... First of all, we have confirmed that the actress playing Barbara Gordon is an amputee, actual amputee, and she's actually in a wheelchair. But there is a fight scene between her and the bad guy of this episode, which is a girl. And Barbara can still throw down, even from the wheelchair, which was pretty dope. I thought that was cool.
She, like, uses the... She's basically learned how to use the wheelchair to her advantage to, like, still, like, gain distance, fight, be defensive.
Yeah.
It was really cool. You're right. It was a really cool scene. And then in the flashbacks, it's before the amputation, so, like, there's some body doubles that are used, but they do it in a way where it's not disrespectful.
It's tasteful.
Yeah. I didn't know if tasteful was the word that I wanted to use. But they did it in a way that was not disrespectful. But, and it worked. It did explain a lot of the backstory. It explained, like, why this particular villain of the episode, who is now working for Scarecrow, like, has such a hatred
she's
for Barbara.
Basically Scarecrow's backup plan if Jason doesn't work out. Jason being Red Hood.
Yeah.
That he's got his money on Jason. Basically Jason at some point in the episode is like, hey man, like, I don't have to take orders from you. And Scarecrow's like, let me show you something. And he takes him to a hospital, and this girl comes in and just fucking murders everybody with, like, a sword. And then he's like, she works, and then Scarecrow's like, she works for me. I don't actually fucking need you. So you better fucking get on board with what I'm doing here. Yeah, it was intimidating. That was
the way that they've done Scarecrow on this is so much more like evil and long-term plan than a lot of the other, like, not a lot of the other versions, but of the live-action version that we've seen.
Don't get me wrong. I love is it Cillian or Cillian Murphy?
Cillian Murphy, yeah.
Cillian Murphy. I loved him as Scarecrow, but
the way that Scarecrow is written was, this is my angle, and I got to it in one film, and it was because it was funded by someone else. Like, I'm not actually, like, the evil mastermind.
Yeah,
where in
exactly.
this,
Dude,
he's
that's the perfect way
the
to
evil
explain.
mastermind.
Yes.
Like,
thank you.
It actually plays into how he's a fucking genius who understands the human psyche, because he is a psychologist.
A psychiatrist,
Yeah, psychiatrist, psychologist. He deals with the human mind.
Tomato.
I'm sure that based on his knowledge of pharmaceuticals, probably you're right with the psychiatrist. But they really amp up, like, how badass he is in this series, especially this season. Well, only this season is when he came into play.
But yeah, it was awesome because Jason's just a cocky little shit, and Scarecrow's just like, hey man, check this bitch out. She works for me, and you're not that cool.
Yeah.
So get on board, or I'll have her kill you.
But what was cool is when Dick and Barbara and everyone was trying to, like, on the Titan side of things, the GPD, Gotham Police Department, for those of you that are not up to date with acronyms, as they're trying to track this new assassin working for Scarecrow.
That's the next episode.
When he's training Gar, I think that was in episode 5.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And Dick breaks it down. Wow. You were very quick to admit wrong.
I know. I'm
glad this is recording, because
I think my
brain
is like going like this, and my, like, Everything else is like this right now. I just keep fucking. Anyways.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Jake. Jake, okay. Anyways. Oh, no, don't go anywhere. But we do get to see Dick takes Gar into, like, that's a weird sentence. Takes him into a training room, basically, where they set up, like, the audio from the crime scene where the new assassin girl just murks everyone in that hospital room. And basically is showing Gar how, Dick was trained by Batman to, like, use his other senses when he can't see. So, like,
that's cool.
Based on, like, the sounds, the echoes, everything like that to determine the size of the weapon, the movements that happened, all of that. And it gets it starts to really paint the picture as to why Batman is known as, like, the world's greatest detective, especially in the comics. We don't get a lot of that in, like, movies and stuff like that. It's more like, I'm super rich and I've got some fancy tech. Yeah. It's like, no, he's actually a genius and like knows so much. And they really play into that, which is what I really enjoy about this season in particular, is that it's more of like a mystery thriller instead of just like the supernatural bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I also think that Gar is probably shaping up to be like my favorite character.
He probably already is.
He's so badass,
and he's so relatable, like, too, because it's like he has these abilities, and it's like he wants to, like, improve, but he also, like, wants to maintain relationships. Also, like, he doesn't just want to, like, get the job done and be, like, the best that he can be. Like,
he wants
cares
to be
about
friends with everybody. He's like, we're not just a team, we're a family. We got. What's good?
Sorry.
Vin Diesel shows up.
Oh, this isn't a team. This is a family.
This is a family. Yeah. It's funny you went car and I went shotgun.
Well, that was supposed to be a car engine revving, not a tiger growling.
So end of this episode, basically, Jason steals all of Scarecrow's drugs, toxins, fear toxin,
like the anti-fear toxin that they developed,
and gives it to just a bunch of random, like, people,
thugs.
Like
low-level enforcers for the mob families.
Yeah, and they basically, well, not basically, some of them go and kill a little Chinese food store owners and their son, which we have not confirmed, but we are pretty sure is Tim Drake.
Yeah.
So this is setting up the Tim Drake storyline.
We've only heard him called Tim.
Drake. What was it? I thought it was Drake.
They call him Tim.
Oh, Tim. Okay.
And yeah, his parents, he's half black, half Asian American, half. I don't want to get into the minutia because I don't want to, like, say the wrong thing. But he's half black, half Asian. And his parents,
it's African American.
African American and Asian American. For those of you that can't tell by my voice, I am white, and I don't want to say the wrong things because that's just whatever. Moving on. Spent a lot of time on that. Oh, okay. But we're pretty sure that it's supposed to be Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Who later becomes a Robin.
Yeah.
But his parents are shot up in their restaurant that they own, and we see him, like, holding his dad, and that's basically how the episode ends, with Jason Todd standing outside, just, like, huffing on his inhaler.
Yeah. Oh, and then otherwise, this was kind of a lame episode.
Yeah, like, there were a couple of
The ending was sweet.
important things.
Yeah.
But it did not need to be a full 45-minute episode. It could have been done in 15 minutes. They could have done the whole flashback sequence in 10.
Yeah.
Done a whole other episode, and then the last 3 minutes could have been. It was a wasted episode. They could have put so much more into it, but they didn't.
The past two prior to episode 6 were very much throwaway episodes in my opinion.
Yeah.
But episode 6 was the tip.
So good. It really dives further into what we just mentioned about how it's this season of Titans is much more diving into the thriller mystery aspect that is Batman lore.
Basically, Scarecrow's pissed. Scarecrow's pissed because Jason took his drugs. Jason's like, "Are you mad?" And he's like, "No, I'm not mad. I'm not the Batman." And then he's like, "Here, take some drugs." And Jason's like, psh, takes the drug, and it basically falls down. And it's like, "What'd you give me?" And he's like, and then Scarecrow's like, "Told you, I'm not the Batman."
Yeah,
it's dope. Yeah, he's a psycho. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. But we also get some pretty cool Easter eggs in this episode. We get a reference to Victor Freeze with his, was it Mr. Snowy, Mr. Snowcone?
Yeah, but they also mentioned that the shit that Scarecrow is collecting is what do you call it? The shit, the frozen shit. Oh my god,
Freon.
Yeah, and then they're like,
yeah, it requires a large amount of Freon to not overheat, so it can keep powering and producing this drug.
Yeah. And that's where the reference comes from. They're like, "Do you think it's Mr. Freeze or Mr. Snowcone or whatever?"
Yeah. Basically, I think it was Dick was like, "There's only one person that could supply that amount of coolant."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Who?" He's like, "Victor Freeze."
Yeah.
So they never say Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
But it's a nice Easter egg, or it's hinting towards progression. But based on the way that this episode went, I don't think it is. But I would love to see.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see Mr. Freeze. That is not, yelling, "Get to the chopper!" Oh.
Well, they did in Gotham. But
I didn't get that far in that show because it kind of was very slow.
Yeah. Penguin. I thought Penguin sucked. I don't even.
Well, I mean, he's 6'6" and just a cocky bastard.
And Jada
Pinkett Smith, which is just kind of a
terrible
mob boss and someone newing.
Anyways.
We're not talking about Gotham right now. We're talking about Titans.
There's a couple cool things in this episode that I feel like are notable that we should talk about. One is that other than Starfire looking fly as fuck, she makes a deal with the bad guys.
Yeah, she makes a deal with the mob bosses. Or a mob boss.
To bring her son back to her. And so she does.
Brings the son back to the mob boss.
Yeah.
For information.
And then the mob boss shoots her son in the head. And then Starfire gets pissed and kills said mob boss. So
with some
that is
fiery stars. No, some starry fires. No, she just lights the bitch on fire.
Yeah, which is it's bad. I feel like Dick is not great. I feel like Dick is not going to be happy about that eventually.
Even in the episode, they're on the phone, and she's like, "Oh, this is how I know this." And he's like, "How do you know this?" He's like, "Oh, I made a deal." And he's like, "That wasn't a good idea. what happened? And she's like, well, she killed him, and then I killed her. And he's like, that's not a good idea. But yeah.
You go. Connor.
Yeah, Connor. Besides Connor, also though, like we get to see Starfire's sister kind of start to like come into her own and actually like contribute to the team instead of just being like a snobby little bee. But we also get Connor or Superboy, which you hate me saying. But we do get Connor Kent being. I mean, he's emotional because he's trying so hard to resist the side of his psyche that is Lex Luthor.
So, for those of you who don't know, Connor Kent is a clone made from Lex Luthor and Superman.
Yes. But
so he thinks that he's inherently evil because he has Lex Luthor DNA in him.
Yeah. So he's trying really hard to suppress that, go against it, and he wants to be able to save everyone. And they come across a hostage with another one of the chest implanted bombs that is what killed Hank. But it's been modified now to where Connor cannot save him because they adjusted it so that there's not a kill switch. It's basically just a ticking time bomb.
I personally like this scene because it reminds me of Batman versus Superman. If you haven't seen Batman versus Superman, or if you have, there's a scene in there where Superman is standing in the courtroom and
at the Senate or I think it's the Senate or the
and the guy in the wheelchair has a bomb given to him by Lex Luthor, blows up, and Superman basically just stands there like with all the flames and like ashes of the people that just died around him, and he just looks defeated. This is very similar to this scene where they find this guy that Chad was just talking about who has the chest implant bomb, and Connor x-rays it with his x-ray vision. It's like, I can't get this out. He's like, Dick, you've got to get out of there. And he like throws Dick out of the way, and then he stands there and takes the blast and has a very similar moment. Like the flames are around him, and he looks very defeated by this, which we also know he feels very responsible for Hank dying because he wasn't able to save Hank in time. So this is a good scene. I like it. It's probably my favorite scene of the episode. Yeah,
but it also plays into the emotional aspect of like Connor battling, like, is he good enough? Is he not good enough? Is he as good or powerful as Superman, or is he somewhat diluted? Like, as we've kind of gotten glimpses at throughout this season, but like, I think that this was a moment to where he's just, like you said, just defeated. Just like, oh.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
On top, I mean, unless there's anything else you want to add, there's a badass scene at the end of this episode. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but I thought one of the best parts of this episode was that all of the characters in this episode, Gar, Dick, Starfire, they're all working different angles in this episode, and they all just kind of end up at the same place at the end. And it just shows that, like, again, in my opinion, they're not ready quite yet to be a team because they're all trying to work solo. But in the end of the episode, they all ended up in the same place together. They ended up fighting together, and I thought it was better. It was an awesome suit up scene.
It was. Yeah. We also get Blackfire now suited up.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. We get to see Gar is now starting to get a little bit more of a handle on his powers. Mm-hmm. We kind of got hints at it earlier where like just like his anger like brought out just like the pure aggression, and he turned green with like the fangs like we see in like the animated Titan series.
Yeah.
But even in this episode, like he's able to now just like transform just his hands into tiger paws.
Parts of his body that he's using to attack, yeah.
Yeah, instead of like having to fully transform, which is super, super awesome.
Yeah.
And despite this entire fight scene, which was so enjoyable, because I mean they're doing it right. It's a lot of fanfare, but like not over the top campy bullcrap. Like it's just enjoyable. But Scarecrow does still get away, so it leads up to the the continuing of the episodes for the season. He still has Jason. Jason is still like mostly drugged.
Yeah. But you can kind of tell that Jason is like...
I'm starting to realize he kind of fucked up.
Well, because he's sobering up from the drug. The drug that Jason has been... Red Hood Jason / Jason. The drug he's been using since he has been Red Hood is what is causing his aggression. And now Scarecrow's not giving him that drug anymore. And it has him tied up, and now you can see Jason kind of coming back around.
Yeah, his moral compass is starting to kick in.
Yeah. So, there's that. There's also one more thing we got to talk about. I wrote it down last, but I think we meant to talk about it earlier, was Oracle.
Yes, I wrote it off to the side, and I completely forgot about it. We get to see what Oracle is, at least in the Titans universe. Talk about it.
Me? Oh, yeah. Basically, Oracle is a AI technology that Batman used. Dick thought it was completely shut off until this episode. He finds out that Barbara has not shut it off because she's dumb. And Scarecrow he hacked into it and is using this technology against them. Barbara decides to shut it off or kill it, essentially, without consulting Dick about it, and Dick gets pissed.
Yeah, he's not happy about it. But what's cool about Oracle, for those of you that don't know, is that in the comics, after Barbara gets just crippled, in the comics, she's just destroyed. She becomes paralyzed by the Joker. She starts going by the Nomiker. Is that the right word? The Nomiker, I think that's the right word. Of Oracle, because instead of being able to be Batgirl, she basically sits behind a computer screen and like surveils everything. Yeah. But what's cool is that they kind of blended the two versions of Oracle that we've seen in any sort of animated or live action realm, because we kind of got hinted at Oracle in like the Dark Knight, in the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, but Lucius Fox is the one that controls it, and it's basically
and then he shuts it down at the end of the movie. Yeah.
And then in the comics and in the animated series, Barbara is the one that operates Oracle. She goes by Oracle because she's the one that's like behind the screen operating everything. And it kind of blended the two, where it's like she's the only one that can use it, but it's AI, and then Scarecrow hacks into it. So it made it very like relevant for like a much more like modern and realistic interpretation of it.
But Scarecrow purposely hacked into it because he wanted her to shut it down. Yeah. Which is what you were saying earlier, is that he's very much long-term plan in this show. He
understands his villains instead of just being like, I'm going to drug everyone and see what happens. Yeah. He's like, if I do this, and this, then these are like the most likely outcomes, and then I can plan for it.
Yeah. So he purposely hacked into Oracle so that Barbara would shut it down, and then when she shuts it down, you kind of see him go, all right. Yeah.
And then that's what I wanted. And then he lights a joint.
Yeah. And then
'Cause
Woody
he's a stoner.
Harrelson comes in and high fives him. But then you see Dick come in and he's like, "Why'd you shut it down? You go ahead. This is your part. You wanted to talk about it.
Well,
You know more about it than me."
and then Dick is just pissed because he's like, "Why did you shut it down? This is exactly what he wanted. That's why he hacked it, because he knew that you were the only person that would shut it down, that could shut it down. So you basically took our one thing that we could use in our advantage. If we, now that we know that he's using it against us, we could use it in our favor. But you shutting it down completely just like blindsided us for everything. And it creates some tension. Dick is kind of, I don't know how to put this lightly, a dick. At like
Not
all
really.
times.
He's right. He's been right the whole season.
Yeah,
Barbara's the dick.
He's right at all times, but he's just a jackass about it.
She had him shot.
But the entire, like, you're not wrong.
That
You're
5
not
seconds of silence is all I needed.
You're not wrong. But the entire purpose is, like, when Bruce left early in the season, it was like, I want you to be a better Batman. And then he's just being the exact same, like, self-centered Batman. Like, he's not being a better Batman.
No,
So
I
he's
can
just
do it on my own.
kind of the same sociopathic Bruce Wayne, just with a more phallic nickname.
I'm really hoping that Raven comes back in the end of this season. That's like my hope.
Hopefully. I mean, she's in the cartoons, in the comics, she's a very central part of the Titans, and we haven't...
It'd be sweet if, like, Raven, Donna, like, they all come back. That'd be dope.
Except for Aquaboy. He's dead.
No,
dead.
he's dead. He's D-E-D
dead.
dead.
Like, OMG dead.
Yeah. But yeah,
with that.
I don't personally have anything else to say. If you do, take it and run. But
no, that's about it. I mean, there's 4 episodes left of this season. I'm excited for it. I've really enjoyed this season. I think it's my favorite season, and I didn't necessarily know why until you and I were talking off camera. You're like, well, it's because HBO took it over, instead of just like that super unimpressive DC universe that immediately caved to HBO when they're like, hey, let's buy this.
That's also why I think that Doom Patrol is probably going to be really good too. I haven't personally watched any of it. I know it's a branch off of Titans. They were in a couple episodes in the first season.
Yeah.
And I was being a jerk to myself. I was like, I don't think I want to watch that. But now that HBO took it over, I want to start it. I think we should probably do that together.
We'll probably do that in between when Titans ends, leading up to the next season.
That'll give us something to do.
Yeah, and it's 2 seasons that we have to get through until the 3rd season comes out.
3rd season's coming out in now.
Okay, well then we'll have 3 seasons to go through. That's fine. It's super cool. It's great. Gives us plenty of time to not spoil anything for you guys. Unless you're lame. So also start watching that too. I mean, you got time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and close out this episode.
But before we do, there's a few things that we want to talk about. A couple of them are, one, awesome. We're going to New York. We're super excited about that. It's going to be badass.
Absolutely.
We also have our next live stream coming up. That's going to be on the 22nd of September. Please tune in. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast. We're going to be doing some more giveaways. Getting everyone stoked about some other big upcoming things that we're working on. We also still have our web store and our Patreon. So if you guys like what we're doing, you want to support it, I mean, you can give monthly. Just like always, I mean, we don't make money off of this. Everything that we get, we put right back into the podcast for these giveaways.
Self-sustaining. Oh. The podcast is self-sustaining.
It's super green and a little inappropriate at times. But we love you guys, and we are super appreciative of the fact that we're able to still do this weekly, and get a chance to interact with you guys on social medias and stuff like that. If there's something that you find nerdy that you want us to dive into, it doesn't have to be comic book related or movies or TV shows. Really anything. It doesn't have to be Marvel or DC either. Like if there's
board games, beer,
Harry
whiskey.
Potter, beer,
Yeah.
really anything that you want us to dive into on a more like nerdy scale, let us know. You can always email us at hello@allthingsnerdpodcast.com or reach out to us on social media. I mean, we would love to branch out further into what this podcast is, which is All Things Nerdy. It's just that we are big comic book, movie, and film nerds, but we want to be super inclusive of everyone. So if there's something you want us to talk about, let us know. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week, and we'll have our live stream, and we'll bring you a bunch of Comic-Con stuff.
Also, I feel like it's worth mentioning that we're going to start doing some shorter videos, like 1 minute videos, maybe.
Yeah, like in the 1 to
3
minute, I'd say, because that's what a lot of things limit you to.
Because a lot of times we realize that when we podcast, a lot of nerd news comes out, and we're like, oh, fuck. Now we got to wait till next week to share this news. So something we're going to start doing is we're going to start posting news or videos about news that comes out throughout the week in between our episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be doing that, as well as we're going to start also, I don't know how soon it is, but it's definitely in the plans of doing like some more like blog posts and stuff like that takes a deeper dive with actual like links and references instead of just our words into these references as to how things connect. So we're trying to grow and expand on everything, and it's because we really appreciate you guys, and we appreciate the platform that you guys have given us. And so with that being said, I mean, let's go ahead and close this out. And this has been the All Things Nerd Podcast.